Hello everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to Let's Crack UPSC CSE English channel. So first of all, am I audible? Give me a confirmation message that am I audible and am I visible? Fine. Okay. Yes. So today we are going to see one of the most important topic, multifunctional role of Parliament. Okay. So we know about Parliament. Parliament is the most important part of India. So in that we know that Parliament has multiple powers, multiple functions, all these things. Today we are going to see that in detail. Okay. So for this I would like to thank India's largest learning platform because they have n number of benefits like they give you live classes daily, properly scheduled according to the need for UPSC syllabus, and then unlimited access of all the classes. So it is recorded always, every special class, every live class is recorded so that you can watch it n number of times for revision purpose. For if you have any doubt in some topic discussed, you can just go and watch it again. And this is all there. And you also have the opportunity of interacting with top 100 plus educators. And this is about me. I am Suba Keerthana, and I'm an engineer basically, and I have um, and I have 4 years of teaching experience in terms of civil service and TNPSC. I have mentored more than 100 students, and I'm an anthropology faculty too. And I have a very good experience in teaching NEET also. Yes, so this is my Telegram channel's link. You can all use my Telegram channel's link, and it's an open channel. I welcome you all, where you will get the information regarding to all the class. And this is my Unacademy platform's profile link, so that going to this profile, you can see all these special classes, recorded special classes, where currently I'm discussing the MCQs. Okay, so that will be very much helpful because especially for prelims 2020, the practice is very important. In that, discussing the MCQs will be very helpful. And you can download the app both from Google Play Store and Apple Store according to the OS you use. And we have also the opportunity to interact with 100 plus top educators. And this is the subscription details, guys. When it comes to subscription details, I'm giving you my code SUBA. So my code, if you use my code, you get a 10% of discount. Like if it is the 44,000 for 12 months, 10% discount of 4,400 by using my code SUBA. Yes, and then this is about iconic and plus. So iconic and plus, iconic is like you have the personal a personal coach and personalized feedback where you will be concentrated more. Generally when we go to a class of 200 150 like that, sometimes it's not possible for getting a personal attention, but going to iconic you will get a personal attention along with all these regular classes, live classes, test series, structured schedule. You also get personal coach, daily mains answer writing session, study planner, personalized feedback, etc. So this will help you to boost your mark. Okay, this will definitely help you to boost your mark when you know what you have to actually do. So for that you need personal coach, personalized feedback, and go for iconic, I will suggest. And especially for 12 months and 24 months, you have no cost EMI available. So using this, along with that, you use my code SUBA SUBA, you get additional 10% of discount so that you can see the fee structure. 57,600 for that, in 12 months, you get all these benefits. Your every classes, including your optionals, all the classes, test series, unlimited practice, structured schedule, everything is available. For Plus, also you have live classes, test series, unlimited practice, structured schedule. Here also you have my code SUBA SUBA, SUBA SUBA. So you get a 10% of discount when you use my code SUBA. Fine? Yes. Going into the topic. So before that, I would like to inform you about my special classes because it's free, guys. Okay, special classes are free. Just log in to the Unacademy Learner app, come to my class, come to my profile, search for my class. There you can just join my class, attend all these MCQs. See, you have an opportunity of interacting with about 597 students. Okay, you have and for every question I will be sharing a leaderboard. you will be knowing, like, this is like one of my classes. Some classes I had 700, some classes 1K students. So you know where you are standing in terms of your preparation process properly. Okay, where in YouTube channel we are discussing the topics, we are discussing most important concepts. There we discuss questions, there we discuss strategy. It's not just I just post a question and I will just give the answer. I will also give you the strategy how to find out answer from these kind of questions. And you know what, I am discussing almost all subjects there. We have finished economics, 100 questions, top important 100 questions, geography questions, and we also discussed, now we are doing it for the polity 100. Okay, so I welcome you all to join my class. Join my telegram channel. My telegram channel is available in the description. You'll be having it UPSC with Suba in the link. Okay, the link will be having UPSC with Suba. So in that, if you join that, I will also give you the information. Fine? Yes. Okay. See guys, one learner have asked me, ma'am, I am student of Hindi medium, but I want to give in English medium. I will tell you, English is a language. That's all. If you wish to give in English, it's totally fine. Okay, it's not very tough. The only thing is you have to give in more effort. Okay, give in more effort. Try to study everything in English, and then start writing in English. Get your paper corrected, and then slight touch up with your grammar, and then make sure that you don't do much spelling mistakes. That's all. Okay, it's up to your wish. It's not like the people who have studied in Hindi medium should only write in Hindi. People who have studied in English medium should only write in English. No, whichever language you feel like writing. But the only thing is you should ensure to yourself that I will put in more effort. I will do some hard work. If that is it, if that is the case, you can definitely write in English. You can go to interview and you can converse in English. There is no problem at all. Okay, I won't tell you, like, the only thing I would like to tell you is that you have to put in some more effort. That won't be much. Okay, it's not like you have to go to a class for English. No, just some more effort. That's all. Fine. Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Today we will be seeing the multifunctional role of Parliament. Fine. So what is the multifunctional role of Parliament? In the Indian politico-administrative system, Parliament occupies the central position. We know that very well. Okay, so in our Indio politico administrative system, the parliament is very important. We know very well that parliament is sovereign. It's so powerful, and majority of the governance is run by the parliament only. Okay, so in that situation, we know that parliament has position, central position and multifunctional roles. And the fulfillment is constitutionally expected role. Its powers and functions can be classified. So how do we classify it? Legislative powers and functions, law. Okay, so what are all the function based on creating law comes under the concept of legislative functions. Executive function, okay, they have created law. How do they execute it? And then financial powers and function, in terms of financial matters, in terms of dealing with money, in terms of dealing with funds, what are the powers they have? Constituent power and matters. Okay, in constitution, and then all these things, what are the power? Judicial powers, in terms of judiciary or judicial powers, what are all the powers they have? And then electoral powers, in terms of election, what are the powers, and other powers and function. So we are dividing the functions of parliament. That is why I told you multifunctional role of parliament. So I'm dividing functions of parliament into 7 major topics. Okay, so proper understanding of parliament is very, very important, guys, not just for UPSC examination. Tomorrow when you become a bureaucrat, if you're an IAS officer or if you're an IFS officer, police officer, whatever it can be, whatever bureaucracy, I mean, whatever bureaucratic service you go into, you have to work for some ministry. So ministry is also a part of parliament. We know that very well, because ministers are executive part of parliament. The MPs are the legislative part of parliament. So that you should understand properly about the parliament to understand what nature of work you have. Fine. So let's go into the topic. Legislative powers and functions. The primary function of parliament, we know that very well. The primary function of parliament itself is to make law. Okay, parliamentary act, parliamentary laws for the governance of countries. It has exclusive power to make laws. We have discussed already in which situations the parliament makes law. In terms of union list, okay, now it has 98 subjects, originally 97 subjects. In terms of union list, parliament has an exclusive power. What do you mean by exclusive power? Parliament only has the power. In terms of union list, only parliament can make law, no one else can make law. Okay, so that is why we call it as an exclusive power of parliament. Okay, yes, yes, good afternoon guys. Yes, yes, everyone are joining now. Good afternoon. Just drop me a confirmation message, everyone. Just, you know, drop me a confirmation message so that I know that who are all here. Okay, yes, yes, today we have anthropology class at 7 p.m. I told you alternate day class. Yes, today we'll be discussing paper 2 syllabus. Okay, yes, fine. On the residuary subjects, so parliament has an exclusive power, that is parliament only can make law in terms of union list and residuary power. Okay, this is number one. And then with regard to concurrent list, we know that very well parliament also can make law and state also can make law. Yes, and then parliament has overriding power, that is the law of parliament prevails in case of conflict, that we know it very well. Okay, yes, yes, good afternoon, good afternoon, fine. Next, parliament also has power in making laws in the state list. Okay, what are the 5 abnormal circumstances parliament can actually create law in state list? Just have a quick revision. Just think guys, we have discussed about this. I'm going to discuss it. Keep it in mind, very important, because making law in union list and making law in current list is a normal concept. Okay, but in state list is an abnormal concept, and these kind of special abnormal concepts are something UPSC asks again and again. Okay, exceptions, comparisons. So these kind of points are very important when it comes to the UPSC examination. Okay, yes. Guys, if you have any issue in my voice, I would like, I would ask you to just reduce some amount of quality of your video so that you can hear my voice properly. Maybe the internet consumption is more. Am I clear to everyone, guys? Please do let me know. Am I clear to everyone? Yes. Please drop a message. Am I clear and audible to everyone? Am I clear to everyone, guys? Okay, fine. Next. So what are the 5 abnormal circumstances Parliament can create law in state list? First of all, when Rajya Sabha passes a resolution to that, first and foremost thing is Rajya Sabha passes a resolution, and then the Parliament can create law in state list. Point number 1. Point number 2, during national emergency, Parliament has the power to create law in state list. Okay, so first is when Rajya Sabha passes a resolution, Parliament can create law in list. When national emergency is proclaimed, then what happens? India becomes union. India will not be a federation at that time. India becomes union, and every state comes under the control of Parliament. At that time, Parliament can create law in state list. State also can create law, but Parliament has the power to create law, that it is more powerful compared to the state. Third one, when 2 or more states make a joint request, when 2 or more states making a joint request to Parliament, Parliament will create law. That law will be applicable for that state only, who requested only, but other states can later accept. Other states can later apply it to their state also. Fine. Fourth one, when necessary to give effect to international agreement. So yesterday, when if you have people attended my special class, you could have seen, when there is an international agreement related to that, if there is any law needed in terms of state list, Parliament can create law without consent from the states. The parliament need not ask the states whether can I make law in state list or not. Okay, that is important. And last, during president's rule in operation in the state, if president orders that parliament should take over the legislative power, then parliament can create law in state list also. Fine. So 5 things I will just recall it. First, when Rajya Sabha is passing a resolution. Second, during national emergency. Third is when two or more states are requesting parliament. Fourth is to give effect to any international agreements, treaties and conventions. And then finally during president's rule. Okay, these are the 5 situations where parliament can create law. So this is the most important legislative powers. First, union list, concurrent list and state list we saw. And then now we are coming to the ordinances. All the ordinances issued by the president during the recess of parliament must be approved by the parliament within 6 weeks. See, generally everywhere we see 6 months. 6 months, 1 month, 2 months in terms of national emergency. See, for the first time in our class, at least, we are seeing it for the first time, weeks. So when an ordinance is issued by the president, usually president can issue ordinance when the parliament is not at session, the parliament is at recess. That is, between 2 sessions, there will be a break, there will be a recess period for parliament. At that time, if there is any need, the president can create an ordinance. Even that ordinance has to be approved by the parliament within 6 weeks after its reassembly. An ordinance becomes inoperative if it is not approved by the parliament within a period. The parliament makes law in a skeleton form and authorizes the executive to make detailed rules and regulations within the framework of the parent law. So how does this usually work is, parliament will create a skeleton, which we usually call it as framework law. They give the framework, like this is the frame. Inside this you can fill in the details according to the needs of that particular department, and the executive creates the proper rules and regulations. Fine? Yes. Next, this is known as the delegated legislation or executive legislation or subordinate legislation. Such rules and regulations are placed before the parliament for its current examination. I will definitely mention articles. I don't mention articles everywhere. When it is very important, definitely I will mention the articles. Fine. So my classes you could have watched. Whenever there is very important article needed, I'm definitely mentioning it. Okay. So don't worry. Cool. Yes. Next, executive powers and function. The Constitution of India established a parliamentary form of government in which executive is responsible to parliament. Okay. So what happens? I told you already, we have ministers who are also MPs. So when they are an MP, they are the part of legislature. When they are minister, they are part of executive. Fine. And one more thing, the ministers are responsible to the legislature because we have something called as no confidence motion. So this no confidence motion, when passed by the legislature, then it means that the entire council of ministers should resign. Okay. Yes. Next, the parliament exercise control over executive through question hour. See, yesterday's class we discussed related to dices in parliamentary proceedings. Go and look at that. We have mentioned about all these things. 0 hour, what is 0 hour, what is question hour, what is half an hour discussion, short duration discussion, call in attention motion, adjournment motion, no conference, censure motion, or other discussion. Question hour is, we have 3 kinds of questions: start, unstart, and then we have short notice. 0 hour is the innovation of Indian Parliament, where anybody can raise question against minister or private member. Half an hour discussion is very important. In that, if there is any public attention, any matter which is related to public importance can be discussed there. Short duration is very urgent public matter. This is needful public matters. Short duration discussion is for, if it is urgent public matter, it can be used. Call in attention motion is to get the attention of a single minister. Adjournment motion is to get the attention of entire house. Adjournment motion can be brought only in the Lok Sabha. No confidence motion we know very well. No confidence motion also can be passed only in Lok Sabha. When no confidence motion is passed successfully, then the entire Council of Ministers should resign. So by these devices of parliament, the parliament is controlling the executive. See, the parliament is controlling the executive through uh, these functions, these devices. Okay, yes. Next, it also supervises the activities of executive with help of its committees. So yesterday we saw about budget. That budget I told you. When there is a general discussion over, there are standing committees. These standing committees go and check related to the entire project and give a detailed report, so that this detailed report is used to check the genuinity or to check the effectiveness of that particular project. And also that there are cabinet committees which help in taking decisions also for the parliament. So all these committees, on government assurance, committee on subordinate legislation, committee on petitions, etc., are supervising the activities of executive. The ministers are collectively responsible to Parliament in general, to Lok Sabha in particular, because no confidence motion can be passed only in the Lok Sabha, not in both the houses. That is why we always say that Council of Ministers or the executive is responsible to Parliament in general, but to be particular, it is responsible to Lok Sabha only, because Rajya Sabha can never be dissolved. It's a permanent house. Okay, but Lok Sabha can be dissolved in many instances. Before every general election, when no confidence motion is passed, when Prime Minister resigns or Prime Minister dies, when President dissolves on the advice of Prime Minister, there are many instances where Lok Sabha can be dissolved. But Rajya Sabha can never be dissolved. It's a permanent house. Okay, yes. As a part of collective responsibility, there is individual responsibility also. How? Each minister is individually responsible for efficient administration of ministry under his charge. This means they continue in office so long as they enjoy the confidence of majority of members in the Lok Sabha. So two things takes place. What? Number one, every minister has to have the majority of Lok Sabha. If they lose that, what happens? They will be removed from their position. Second one, when president on the advice of prime minister can dismiss ministers. Fine. So these two things are making the ministers individually responsible also. Collective responsibility, we have no confidence motion, but individual responsibility is also there for every minister. That is also ensured by the parliament. Okay. In other words, the council of ministers can be removed by Lok Sabha by passing a no confidence motion, and they also express the lack of confidence in the government in following. What are the important places where the government has the power? I mean, the government should prove majority. First is by not passing a motion of thanks. I told you already. What is a motion of thanks? During every session, okay, during the start of every session, especially during a new session after a general election, the president's inaugural address is called as motion of thanks. That the president lays down the facts, lays down the information regarding the previous year. Okay, what are all the policies the government has laid, everything. In that situation, then there will be a vote for the motion of thanks. During that voting, the entire parliament should pass that vote. Otherwise, the motion of thanks will not be passed, and if the motion of thanks did not pass, it means it's the failure of government and the entire council of ministers should resign. Number one, usually we all think that no confidence motion, no confidence motion. Obviously, we have no confidence motion. Along with that, this is also present. Motion of thanks is a control mechanism. It's a control mechanism of parliament towards the executive. Second, by rejecting money bill. So what happens? When a money bill is rejected, when will a money bill get rejected? Think very well. See, in Rajya Sabha, the Rajya Sabha, money bill, related to money bill, Rajya Sabha has no power. Okay, so Rajya Sabha has no power in terms of money bill. So what happens when money bill is rejected? It means it is rejected in the Lok Sabha itself. It is rejected in the Lok Sabha means Lok Sabha will be having a majority of ruling party, but the ruling party themselves are rejecting a money bill, which means there is less confidence. You understand? We are looking at what are all the following ways which the Lok Sabha express the lack of confidence. First, we saw about not passing the motion of thanks by rejecting money bill, by passing censure motion or adjournment motion. So whenever a censure motion or adjournment motion is passed, it is by convention that immediately a no confidence motion or or a confidence motion should be passed by the ruling party. So if they are failing to pass a confidence motion, it means the Council of Ministers should resign. Okay, and then by defeating the government on vital issue and by passing a cut motion, these are the instances where the Lok Sabha proves that they have a lack of confidence on the government. Fine. Therefore, the first function of parliament can be said to be to select the group which is to form the government. First of all, they'll select which party is going to form the government, support and sustain its power so long as it enjoys the confidence, and to expel it when it ceases to do so, and leave it to the people to decide for the next election. So first an election takes place, and second the parliament forms the government using the majority party. Third, the party should have confidence. If there is a confidence, it continues. If the party has no confidence, what happens? No confidence motion is passed or any of the above said instances will take place, and the entire Council of Ministers will resign, and when the Council of Ministers resign, new elections take place. New election takes place, and now whose decision? Now it is led to the people's decision. That is why the parliament ensures that people have their power. Okay, yes. Next, financial powers and functions. No tax can be levied or collected. So now we saw about legislative power, executive power. Now we are seeing the financial power. No tax can be levied or collected. No expenditure can be incurred by the executive except under the authority. Yesterday we saw, without passing appropriation bill, no amount can be taken out of the parliament. Okay, without the permission of parliament, Consolidated Fund of India cannot be used at all. The money will not come out of Consolidated Fund of India without the permission of parliament, without passing this demand for grants in the parliament. So in that situation, the parliament is also controlling the financial powers. It is also having financial functions. Okay, and the enactment of budget. In yesterday's class, we saw the 6 steps to enact the budget. Every step is crucial. No single step is very simple. Every step is a method of checking whether the particular budget is genuine or not, whether the particular budget is effective or not for the people. Okay, yes. The parliament also scrutinizes government spending and financial performance with its financial committees. Okay, budget is pre-spending. Now they are talking about the finance committees. Okay, this includes Public Accounts Committee, Estimates Committee, and Committee on Public Undertakings. So what happens when the ministry is spending more? They have to answer the Public Accounts Committee. Okay, so these committees are the mechanism to ensure Parliament's financial power. Sorry, the Parliament can check on the financial functions of every ministry. Okay, they bring out the cases. What are the functions of these committees? They bring out the cases of illegal, irregular, unauthorized, improper usage and wastage, and extravagance in public expenditure. See, the money is public's money. It is not any individual's money. It's not a minister's money. It's not the government's money. It's the public's money. So whatever it is done to the public expenditure, it should be legal, it should be proper, authorized. Someone else cannot use the money. Every time it is checked if it is it the person who is authorized spending the money, is it spent for the public purpose only, or is it spent for personal purpose, or they are spending high, or are they spending less, are they spending correctly? Everything is checked by these committees. Okay, yes. Therefore, the parliamentary control over executive in financial matter operates in 2 stages. First is budgetary control. So, budgetary control, yesterday we saw, budget is not passed easily. Like the finance minister comes and reads the budget and it is like passed. No, it has 6 stages. 6 stages take almost 2 to 3 months. It starts on 1st February and it ends only on the last of April. February, March, April. 3 months it takes to pass the parliament. Okay, pass the budget. Almost 1/4 of every year is taken just for bringing the budget. So first of all, budgetary control is the first and foremost thing. Second is post budgetary control, that is control after appropriation of grants through the financial committees. That is what I told you. Pre budgetary control, post budgetary control. Pre budgetary control is based on, cut motions we have, appropriation bill we have, and finance act, finance bill passing we have. Many things are controlled during the budget itself. Even after granting the appropriation, what happens? Using the financial committees, the parliament still exercises its financial control over the ministries, over the executive. Fine? Yes. The budget is based on the principle of annuity. That's the money to one financial year only. It's not like ministry can take it for 5 years, or for entire time period they can take. No, for 1 year, every 1 year, the money has to be asked and then taken. Okay, the budget is for one financial year. That is 1st of April to 31st of March. If the granted money is not spent by the financial year, then the balance expires and returns to the Consolidated Fund of India. This practice is known as rule of lapse. For example, 1,000 crores is allotted for one ministry. Let's take agricultural ministry. So agri ministry, 1,000 crores is allotted that year. That ministry is using only 800 crores. It doesn't mean they have saved 200 crores and they can keep it for themselves. No. This 200 crores will return to Consolidated Fund of India. Okay, Consolidated Fund of India. And again, if they have to take the 200 crores, again they have to go for vote on grants and then appropriation bill. Only then they can take money out of it. Okay, that is what we call it as rule of lapse. That is, they give a validity period. It's like a check. So they give a check and they give a validity period. Within that period, if you're not spending the money will come back to me. Okay, that is what we call it as rule of lapse. It facilitates effective financial control of parliament, as no reserve funds can be built without its authorization. What does that mean? If the 200 crores is not given back to the parliament, what happens? The 200 crores remains within the ministry itself. Ministry is nothing but the executive. So ministry can have their own reserve. So what happens if this continues? 200 crores per year means just have in 10 years 2000 crores. So what happens? The ministry will become independent with their resources. So parliament does not want that. Parliament should exercise its control over executive. If not, what happens? Then the ministries will not be responsible to the legislature, and there are so much possibilities that many discrepancy might happen. This 200 crores is also people's money. If that is not taken back, there is no control on that particular 200 crores. Okay, that is one point. Second point, what happens? The ministry will take money from Consolidated Fund and it will not do the project at all. The project delayed is project denied. What we say it as justice denied, justice delayed is justice denied. Okay, there is a person who is waiting. Okay, he needs something. You are not giving him on time, which means it's a waste even if you give it very nicely when it is not needed, right? The same way. So through this rule of lapse, the parliament is having a control over the executive, that for two things. Number one, they have a control on spending, control on money, and they have control on time. So both things parliament is doing, using this rule of lapse method. Okay, this is popularly called as March rush. So if not just public enterprises, private enterprises also, at the end of March, they say the term called as year end. We will be thinking like, yeah, year end is December. Why these people are calling March as year end? That's the financial year end. Financial year end. So what happens? Within that financial year, the money that is given to them has to be spent. Otherwise, it becomes invalid and taken back to the Consolidated Fund of India. And if you need money back, you have to undergo all the steps you have done previously, which is not that easy. Fine? Yes. Next, constituent powers and functions. The parliament is vested with the powers to amend the constitution. Amendment powers, Article 368. Okay, so in terms of constitution, what are all the powers the parliament has? So what are the powers? They can add, they can do variations or repeal any provision, provided that they do not disturb the basic structure. That is very important. Okay, parliament has the power to amend the constitution without disturbing the basic structure. Yes, the major part of constitution can be amended by the parliament with special majority. We know that very well. Two types of majority is needed for amendments. If we are using article 368, we need special majority 2 by 3rd. That is why we say that our constitution is a blend of rigidity and flexibility. We can amend it, but not that easy. But there are some amendments where simple majority is needed. Simple majority, like in terms of reorganization of state, simple majority is enough. Okay, so in terms of citizenship, simple majority is enough. So all these things, so we know that very well by terms of simple majority, and that is the majority of total membership of each house and majority of not less than 2/3 of the members present in the each house and voting. So the parliament can amend the constitution with special majority and with simple majority, the majority of members present and voting in each house. Only a few provisions of the constitution can be amended by the parliament by special majority and with the consent of at least half of the state legislatures, especially when it is related to federal features, like related to president and then related to courts. If there is anything related to federal features, we need 2 by 3rd of special majority along with the half of the state legislature, consent from the half of the state legislature. But still parliament can amend. Parliament can amend constitution. That is what is very important. The power to initiate the process of amendment of constitution in all the three cases lies exclusively in the hands of parliament, which means state legislature cannot initiate amendment. Okay, in all the three cases of amendments of constitution, the state legislature can never initiate an amendment. Only parliament has an exclusive. I told you already what is exclusive means. The parliament only has power. That is what we call it as exclusive. Okay, requesting the parliament for creation or abolition of legislative council. There is only one exception, which means except for the creation or abolition of legislative council, the parliament only can initiate amendment. Only in terms of creation or abolition of legislature council, the state legislature has the power. This exception is very important. Okay, yes. Based on the resolution, parliament makes an act for amending the constitution. To that effect, we know that simple majority, special majority we just saw. Simple majority, special majority is 2 by 3rd, and then 2 by 3rd of parliament plus half of states. So there are three types of majorities. Okay, the constituent power of parliament is not unlimited. We know that very well. It is subject to the basic structure. See, in our class, in one of the video, I discussed clearly about amendment procedure and basic structure. I discussed it in a single video because amendment cannot be understood without the understanding of basic structure, because the parliament has a limited power. That itself is a basic structure, and that was the verdict of Supreme Court. Do you understand? The parliament does not have unlimited power. The Supreme Court has given verdict saying that using the limited power, trying to get an unlimited power is constitutionally invalid. Okay, so that is what is very, very important. In other words, the parliament can amend any provision of the constitution except the basic features. This was ruled in the 1973 court in Kesavan Bharati case and reaffirmed. So initially in 1973 it was the first verdict related to basic structure, and in Minerva Mills case it was confirmed. It was like made sure by the Supreme Court saying that basic structure is important. Amendment cannot be done to the basic structure. And I also have discussed related to the list of constituents of basic structure. Please go do and watch that video. Okay, so in the Let's Crack UPSC CSE channel, there is a separate playlist for all the polity classes I have taken, polity videos I have taken. Go and watch in that. Okay, everything is linked with each other. Fine. Yes. Next, judicial powers. What are the judicial powers and functions? So yesterday we saw that the Parliament has the power to extend the jurisdiction of Supreme Court. Who has the power to extend the jurisdiction of Supreme Court? Two instances it can be done. Parliament can do it, or special agreements between the center and state. There are two instances where the jurisdiction of Supreme Court can be extended. So let's see what are the judicial powers and functions. The judicial powers and functions of the Parliament include impeachment of the President for the violation of Constitution. So if a president is violating the Constitution, the Parliament gives a judgment. The Parliament takes a disciplinary action, which is a judiciary power. Okay, who takes the disciplinary action? Legislative create law, executive executes the law, judiciary checks if everything is okay. If there is something not right, the judiciary will give some solution. Okay, like it can be a punishment, it can be a verdict, anything. So this is also a part of judiciary function of Parliament. It can remove the vice president from his office, impeachment of vice president. It can recommend the removal of judges also, including chief justice. Okay, and the High Court's chief election commissioner, comptroller and auditor general, because chief election commissioner, UPSC chairman, comptroller, auditor general, everyone are impeached same as the judges of Supreme Court. Okay, so judiciary and quasi judiciary body heads also can be removed from their position. It can punish its members or outsiders for the breach of its privileges or its contempt. So we know now, especially now, we know that contempt of court is a very famous case. Okay, so in Mr. Prashant Bhushan case, we know very well the contempt of court is becoming a very famous thing. We will also discuss about it. But we should also know that the Parliament also has a judiciary power related to contempt of Parliament. Okay, for both the members, it can be an MP or outsider. It can be anyone. The Parliament has the power to punish them for its own contempt. Okay, next, electoral powers and functions. The Parliament participates in the election of president. So yesterday in the class I gave this. See who constitutes the electoral college of president? Elected members of Lok Sabha, elected MPs. Simply keep it in mind, elected MPs, and then MLAs, state MLAs and elected MPs. MPs here means member of parliament, includes both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So who elect? So the Parliament participates in the election. Number one. So number one is the election of president and the vice president. Number two, the Lok Sabha elects its speaker and deputy speaker. Okay. So deputy speaker is not appointed by prime minister. If you see any statement saying that speaker is appointed by prime minister, no. Speaker is elected among them. Deputy speaker is elected among them. And also in terms of deputy chairman of Rajya Sabha. Why not chairman of Rajya Sabha? How chairman of Rajya Sabha is selected? Can someone tell me? How chairman of Rajya Sabha is selected? Yes. Vice President is the chairman of Rajya Sabha. Vice President of India is the ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha, which means he is not elected. I mean, not from the parliament. He is elected. He is having a separate electoral college. Fine. Very important. When someone is asking this kind of question, just be calm and don't get panicked. What, I don't know about this. Don't get panicked like that. You know the answer. UPSC is also the same. They ask something you know, but in a different format. Okay. So especially in the examination hall, you get panicked. Don't do that. Okay. Just think and answer. That's all. Very simple. Okay. Clear. Next. The Parliament is also authorized to make law to regulate the elections. So, okay, so electoral power doesn't mean they only do elections. They also can control elections. How can they control the elections? It is authorized to make law to regulate the elections to the office of President, Vice President, and to both the houses of Parliament and to both the houses of state legislature also. Okay, so any rules and regulations related to the election of state legislature, the Parliament only create laws. Accordingly, the Parliament enacted the President, Vice President Election Act of 1952, Representation of People Act of 1950, and Representation of People Act of 1951, etc. Very important. We know that Representation of People's Act of 1951 is like very important for election. It lays down the rules and regulation of the elections for both MP and MLA elections. Okay, yes. Other powers and function. There are various other powers. What are those? It serves as the highest deliberative body in the country. It discusses the various issues of national and international significance. We know that parliament is sovereign, which means no any committee, anybody can only give advice to parliament. It is the highest authority to discuss and take decisions on national and international significance. That's why we call it as the highest deliberative body. If there is any question, which of the following is the highest deliberative body in the country? Obviously, parliament. No individual person is the highest person or powerful person in the country. Parliament is the most powerful thing. Why parliament is most powerful? Because it has the representatives of people directly elected by people. Okay, prime minister and his council of ministers, MPs of Lok Sabha, all these people are directly elected by people. Since people are sovereign in a country, the members, the representatives of people are the sovereign, who is nothing but the parliament. Okay, it approves all three types of emergency: national, state, financial, which is proclaimed by the president. Next, it can create or abolish state legislative council on the recommendation of concerned legislative assembly. So what happened? The state legislative assemblies will initiate this amendment, and then the parliament only can pass that amendment. Okay, then what happens? The state legislature will have a legislative council. It can increase or decrease the area, alter the boundaries, and change the names of states by simple majority, guys. Okay, very important. According to Article 4 of Indian Constitution, to do anything in Article 2 and 3, the Parliament can do it in simple majority only and not under Article 368. Okay, so this article is very important. This year you might get question because of this changing of Jammu and Kashmir state into two union territories. So for that the parliament needs only simple majority. Okay, next. It can regulate the organization and jurisdiction of the Supreme Court and High Courts and can establish a common High Court or two or more states. So the parliament has the power to organization and jurisdiction of Supreme Court and High Courts. We know they have an integrated judiciary. We don't have judiciary for center and state. We have an integrated judiciary, which means who has the power? The parliament has the power to regulate related to the organization and jurisdiction, formation of new court, creating a joint court, common high court for two or more states, union territories. Everything can be done by the parliament only. Okay, so what is this ineffectiveness of parliament control? We just saw all the functions, multifunctional role of parliament. What is the ineffectiveness of parliamentary control? The parliament control over the government and administration in India is more theoretical than practical. Just now we saw so much things. Okay, this control, that power. But why still, ma'am, we don't have proper governance in our country? What is the reason for we don't have a perfect governance? If parliament is having so much power, it means that we should have a perfect governance. But why? Let's see. What are the following factors responsible for the ineffectiveness of parliamentary control? First, Parliament has neither time nor experts to control the administration, which has grown in volume as well as complexity, because we have 28 states and 8 union territories. Okay, so in this situation, it's very tough because Parliament is having no time and expertise. Okay, it's for doing the regular work itself, the Parliament time is enough. For doing extra functions, they don't have time. Okay, next. Parliament's financial control is hindered by the technical nature for the demands of grants. Okay, so for demands of grants, one ministry, for every demand for every grant there should be a new demand for grants, not like in general. For every new demand there should be a demand for grant. Every time they should be doing a voting. It's very complex and it's not that easy to do it very clearly. Okay, that is one thing. The parliamentarians being laymen, we know that very well because MPs are not that educated. Okay, few MPs are educated, yes, but many MPs are not educated. Okay, because we don't have education as one of the important qualification for being a minister, being an MP also. Okay, so we have qualification like age, Indian citizen, and then we should be enrolled in electoral roll, and then all these things are there, but it doesn't have any qualification related to the technical expertise. The legislative leadership lies within the executive and it plays a significant role in formulating policies. We say that executive is responsible to legislature. Yes, fine. So it seems okay. But the majority party is ruling party. Party is ruling party. See, will the party will act against themselves? No. Majority party will always have confidence of Lok Sabha. So no confidence motion is passed in very rare instance. Even though we say that it's unstable because of this no confidence motion, the parliament form of system is unstable. How many times we have passed no confidence motion and how many times the members have been questioned? No. The parliament, even though they have this control devices, it is not used because the executive is also in legislature, so they don't answer themselves. Okay, yes, the very size of parliament is too large and unmanageable to be 552 plus 250. Okay, so we have so much people. See, almost we have 802 members. Yes, 802 members. How can it be manageable and effective? Everybody will have their own, people are belonging to party. Either they have to listen to party only or they can't express sometimes. Okay, so all these things. The increased recourse of guillotine reduce the scope of financial control. So what is this guillotine? When speaker passes this guillotine, it means that whatever discussion was taking place should be stopped immediately on vote of grant should take place. So what happens because of this? The proper discussion or proper financial control is not able to be exercised. Fine. The growth of delegated legislations. What is this delegated legislation? We talked about framework. That is, the parliament will only create framework. The executive will create their own rules and regulations according to their needs. They will create a skeleton and the body is constructed by the executive only. So because of this, what happened? The role of parliament in making law has reduced. The executive is also doing the legislative part of the parliament. Okay, so that is one problem. The laws made by the parliament and executive should execute it. That is what we know. But because of this delegated legislation, the parliament's legislative power is reducing and the executive's legislative power is increasing, which makes executive more powerful than the legislature. Okay, the frequent promulgation of ordinances by the president dilutes the parliamentary power of legislation. We know that very well. Many times ordinances have been created and it has been passed by the parliament. So what happened in that situation? Also the parliamentary power of legislation is reduced. Majority support enjoyed by the executive in the parliament reduces the possibility of effective criticism. See, 100 people are ruling, 25 people are opposition. Do you think the opposition party will be listened by the ruling party? No, they have the majority, they just pass the bill and go. They have this 2 by 3rd. Just imagine if a person is having absolute majority, 2 by 3rd majority the ruling party is having. They don't need the opposition party at all. They will be ruling themselves. Okay. The financial committees like Public Accounts Committee examines public expenditure after it had been incurred. What is the use of something which has been already done? Post-mortem work only can be done. That's all. There is no control mechanism. It's just a checking mechanism. I have spent 50 rupees. What is the use of asking why did you spend? There should be someone to tell, spend 50 rupees for this. Don't spend 50 rupees for this. Instead, the committee only will come and ask me why did you spend? I'll give them an answer. But that 50 rupees will not come back. Right? That is what they are saying. The committees are just doing post-mortem work. There is no use. There is very less use. I can't say no use, but it's a very less effective method of checking the financial controls. The parliament's control is sporadic, general and mostly political in nature. Okay, it's mostly based on the political ideologies and political political intention. It's not specific in terms of public good. Lack of strong and steady opposition in the parliament and a setback in the parliamentary behavior and ethics. We know that very well. Okay, so the parliamentary behavior and ethics, how many times the speaker should postpone the session because there is no decorum. People do not behave properly in the parliament. They just fight, throw papers, throw chairs, physical violence takes place sometime, verbal violence takes place sometime. So what happened? This kind of problem is also creating ineffectiveness of legislative control over the administration in India. Okay, so these are the most important concepts related to the ineffectiveness of parliament. Fine, yes. So we'll just see a small concept related to the funds. What are the different kinds of funds in the parliament? See this. This is very important, guys. Consolidated Fund of India, Public Account of India, and then Contingency Fund of India. These three funds are very, very important. Okay. Difference between these three funds are very important. First is Consolidated Fund of India. Yesterday in the budget we saw one thing. We only spoke about Consolidated Fund of India. Did we speak about Contingency Fund or public accounts? No. We only spoke about Consolidated Fund of India. Why? Because the government can bring in money and take out money only from the Consolidated Fund of India. Contingent fund is completely reserved for president. Public accounts is completely people's money. Okay, money do not go out of public accounts by the control of parliament. We'll see this. What is consolidated fund? It is a fund which all receipts are credited. Whatever revenue the government earns is credited inside. Taxable and non-taxable, tax revenues and non-tax revenues, both. All payments are debited. Okay, it's same like our bank account. So I get my salary, I credit it in my account. I have an expenditure, I take it outside. So this Consolidated Fund of India is like the government's account. Okay, yes. All revenues received by the government of India, all loans raised by the government of India by the issue of treasury bills, loans or ways and means of advances, everything is brought to the consolidated fund only. All money received by the government in repayments of loan forms the Consolidated Fund of India. Repayment of loan is from, our government has loaned to some other country, that repayment also comes to the Consolidated Fund only. All the legally authorized payment on the behalf of government of India are made out of this fund. No money out of this fund can be appropriated, which is without appropriation bill. Without passing appropriation bill, no money can go out of consolidated fund. This appropriation bill is like a token, it's like a checkbook. Using this only, money can go out of the Consolidated Fund of India. If there is any statement, which of the following is the must to take the money out of the Consolidated Fund? Appropriation Act. Okay, it's a parliamentary law. Same way how the bill is passed. Okay, next. Public accounts. All other public money other than those which are credited to the Consolidated Fund, like pensions, PFs, provident funds, all these things received by on or behalf of the government of India shall be credited to the public accounts. What are those? Fund deposits, judicial deposits, saving bank deposits, departmental deposits, remittances, and so on. All these things will come to the public account of India. Okay. This account is opened by the executive action, not by the parliamentary action. By the executive action, that is, the payments from this account can be made without parliament appropriation. Such payments are mostly in the nature of banking transaction. Okay, mostly in nature of banking transaction. It's not used for any project or something. For any project, for policy schemes, the money goes from the consolidated fund only. Okay, for any banking transaction, for giving people their money, then we have this public accounts. Finally, contingency fund. The Constitution authorized the Parliament to establish a contingency fund of India into which amounts determined by the law are paid from time to time. That is every year. Okay, so to be precise, every year a certain amount of money made by parliamentary law. The Parliament only decides how much money has to be paid. Every year the money is updated in that contingency fund. Okay, what is this contingency fund? The Parliament enacted the Contingency Fund of India Act in 1950. It's a statutory fund. Okay, so the Constitution has said that the Parliament only will create the contingency fund, and according to the Contingency Fund of India Act of 1950, the contingency fund has been formed. Fine. The fund is placed at the disposal of President. So what we saw, consolidated fund, Parliament only can take money by appropriation bill. Public accounts, executive action only can take money outside. That also should be mostly in bank transaction. And this contingency fund, president only can take money out of it, and he can make advances out of it to meet unforeseen expenditure, especially during emergency. If there is any need, if there is any disaster, if there is any emergency, president can take his money out of this contingency fund of India and use it. Okay, and for this, authorization of the parliament is needed. That is after the expenditure. It's not like the president can take it out with the permission of parliament. He has to spend it and lay the financial statements related to that before the parliament and get the authorization. The fund is held by the finance secretary on the behalf of president. Okay, who is holding this account? This the finance secretary is holding this contingency fund on the behalf of president. Okay, finance secretary is nothing but the finance ministry secretary. Like the public account of India, it is also operated by executive action only, which means parliament permission is not needed. The president can take the money out of it through some executive action. Okay, thank you so much. So yesterday we saw about the budget. So this funds very important, and today the topic was very important because it is like a compilation of entire functions of parliament. Okay, just do a important revision of these topics, because we never know what question comes in UPSC, because everything is from current affairs. Okay, thank you so much. Like this video, share this video, use my code SUBA because you will get a 10% of discount. Okay, so that when you are subscribing for I, use my code SUBA. For plus also you can use my code SUBA and you will get a 10% of discount. Okay, thank you so much. Have a nice day. Subscribe this channel and you can go and watch the playlist. Okay, thank you so much. Have a nice day. Thank you. Guys, before this, I would like to tell you something. Please join my Telegram channel because today I'm going to conduct a quiz at 5 p.m. on polity. Okay, welcome you all. It's free at 5 p.m. Today we have a quiz on polity. Join my Telegram channel. I will share you the code of that particular quiz. I'm inviting you all to that. Okay, thank you.